Toonami. I don't know. Sunday. No, but Toonami, which technically does air on a Sunday, late Saturday night. But no, Toonami is adding a half hour of this show. Tristan, can you pronounce it for me? Is it Bebop? Is it Cowboy Bebop? That is English, right? I've never heard of this show before. Apparently, is it the first run of it on Toonami? If so, why is it on at the end? Usually they have shows that they've run to the ground.
Matt, I swear to God.
At the end. No, look, I love me some Cowboy Bebop. I would go get the DVDs right now, but it wouldn't matter to those listening to this on the podcast. Right? Just, why did he go quiet for so long? But no, yeah, so I got the DVD collection a while ago. I definitely have seen it on Toonami, at least, not in full once or twice, but I've definitely seen it a large amount, because it's been on Toonami since, I'm not going to say the very beginning, but pretty close to Toonami's late night runs, like, beginning, right? It's been on. It's been doing its thing, yeah. So
because it's a classic, Matt.
Well, here's what's funny.
How dare you?
No, but here's what's funny, right? It is a classic. But there's always this discussion that I read online. I don't really see people talking about it exactly, but the discussion that I see sometimes, in no way knocking Cowboy Bebop, because I love it. It is a classic. But some people say, is it a classic just because of how good it is, or is it a classic because of how many times Toonami has aired it? Because I feel like Toonami really never lets people forget that it exists. Which, to some of us that have been around for a long time, seen it for a long time, we're like, oh God, guys, we know Cowboy Bebop exists and it's amazing. We get it. But to some newer fans, they then get to experience it, and it never really dies. So, I mean, what's your take on it? Do you think it's just based on how good it is, or because Toonami plays it so much that you cannot forget that it exists? What do you think, Tristan?
I mean, I think it's personally good on its own, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I won't say that it getting so many runs doesn't help it out, and like you said, bring new people into the loop, but honestly, for this, I think that's a good thing, no matter how many times they've run it. And it's a good show to kind of just like, we're getting an open slot, we don't have anything else new to Toonami to put on right now, what can we throw in there? Cowboy Bebop's usually a good bit to put on, because although it has an overarching story, each episode kind of feels like its own adventure. So like, even if you do maybe just, you find yourself awake at 3:30 in the morning.
It was
you're
on,
like,
3 in the morning.
You know what? This is cool. And it's like, you don't have to know so much about it. Like a lot of other series that are on, like you have to kind of keep up with it. Cowboy Bebop's one where you can pretty much jump in and just enjoy the episode for what it is.
I'll definitely give you that a lot, because unless you're seeing the last, 2 episodes, or the Faye Valentine episode,
right,
like her backstory episode, you don't really need to know much. I mean, I think there's one about Jet as well. But there's usually, I think maybe the one thing that people might notice if they're paying attention and watch it out of order and aren't really, they don't really care to watch the show as a whole, but they catch it out of order, is, oh, hey, where's the kid and the dog? Because, Ian and Ed aren't in every single episode. So right. I think that might be the only thing that some people are like, wait a minute, where's the kid and the dog? Other than that, yeah, I don't think that it's a show that people really, like, it's good that they pay attention when they watch. Like, if someone tells me, hey, should I watch it? I'll go, yes, and watch it in order, and don't really skip around. Because there are little things here and there, but they aren't big enough that I think there aren't big enough changes to the show, which I know to some they might think that's a negative thing. But still, I feel as if people can just, access it easily. It's very easily accessible. That's the term Matt was looking for. Easily accessible to those that just want to jump in, which now in the DVD, not even DVD, now in the Blu-ray streaming age, you don't really need to, when TV is somewhat, it isn't obsolete, but it's kind of getting there, you don't really need to have people jump into something without not knowing what it is. There's a reason why Netflix is the way it is. It's not a live streaming service. It just dumps everything. So people don't really need that anymore, but if you're still watching TV, you're still coming home from, I remember, I think it was you, where you had a job that you got out real late, so you would come home.
Yeah.
But this is back when they brought Toonami back and had a repeat of the first few hours in the last few hours, and you would come home from your job and you'd be like, great, I'm just going to watch the Toonami that I missed.
Yep, pretty much.
And that's what some people do, right? And you can't, well, nowadays it's obviously a bit harder because everything is different. So now you have DVR. But still, you know, for anyone that says, hey, I want to watch Cowboy Bebop and I didn't get to watch that first run of Attack on Titan, they can just watch the reruns. So,
right.
Yeah, I think it's cool if they're adding an extra half an hour. Sometimes you worry, like I said earlier, about TV kind of not being as popular anymore. Does that affect Toonami and their ratings? I would say that it doesn't. Because clearly having all of this Dragon Ball, multiple different series of Dragon Ball, having, you know, the newest season of Attack on Titan before you could even see it online, dubbed.
Yeah.
You know, and so many other shows as well. Then, you know, from the looks of it, I mean, even having the new JoJo's Bizarre Adventure stuff, you know, having parts...
Yeah.
I mean, parts 1 and 2 have been out for a while, and arguably part 3 had as well, to be fair. But still, showing it dubbed on Toonami and having that be the key place to find it in case you didn't buy the DVDs, because, you know, anime DVDs can be a little bit pricey to some. Yeah, I think that apparently Toonami's doing very well, which is great, because, you know, it's interesting to see how TV as a medium, unless you're something like The Walking Dead, or like what Breaking Bad was, the numbers are kind of just going down all across the board. Less people are just watching shows in general on live television. But apparently Toonami's doing well. Because if it wasn't doing well, why would they add this half an hour to it, you know? Like, either Toonami's doing better, or whatever Family Guy rerun, or Rick and Morty rerun was doing so poorly after. Which, if it was a Rick and Morty rerun, you would imagine it'd be doing fairly well.
Yeah.
So, nothing against Family Guy, but, you know, how many times can you rewatch the same episode about Stewie and Brian? Right? It's just like, you've seen the same episode like hundreds of times by now, you know?
When did Stewie become a bounty hunter?
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the same thing over and over and over. So, like, you know, Rick and Morty is somewhat newer, so you could say, oh, hey, the fans want to watch that. So either that was doing poorly, or Adult Swim's doing, Toonami rather, is doing really well, and they wanted to expand it. And I think that's what's going on, which is great for Toonami, you know, great for anime being aired in the U.S. So, good stuff.